I am an aspired songwriter singer, and in my tale of meeting faith, it's not the most easiest, it's not the most funnest times, but I can account for you. There were many times where I wondered, is this even real? Is God really even real? For starters, I didn't grow up in the most well-to-do homes. I didn't grow up with money, fame, or any of that. We're very poor. My parents were abused growing up, so they learned from abusive parents of how to raise me. Then they also themselves were very dysfunctional in the fact that they had alcoholism going on. There was dysfunctionalism in how they handled their money. There was very much dysfunction in communication. There was a lot of fights. There was a lot of screaming. There was a lot of abuses going on. There were times my mom woke up right next to the side of me and I can tell she was hurting because of what my dad did to her in the middle of the night. And the alcoholism turned them into not the best of situational parents that I could have had. They tried their best, but they were not their best. So in all honesty, I never was raised around the greatest of parents. But here I am now. And I've been faced with so many trials, so many downfalls, so many detours in life. And I've wondered, God, are you really there? There's times in my life where actually I started out just songwriting when I was a little kid into like age 16 when I could really understand what some of the formats were in English. Sometimes that was my best friend because growing up I was the bully. I wasn't the bully, but what I'm trying to say is that I was actually bullied. And by those bullies to where all I learned was to be stubborn. Boy, has that got me in so much trouble. Because I thought a form of stubbornness would help be my defense in what I believed. I was always growing up, always in church. I was also known, though, in church as the Miss Goody Goody Two-Shoes one that answered all the questions right. And no one really liked me for that. I mean, they were okay people at my church, just they didn't like how I did things. Nobody ever seemed to have liked how I did things. Growing up, I ended up marrying when I was 18, 19 years old. I had a kid when I was 21. I thought he was the love of my life. I had a lot of good things going. There was a lot of ups and downs and twists and turns. Over the course of trying to raise my daughter, who I love, the most beautiful angel in the world, there were a lot of different difficulties growing up in that. I thought I knew what I wanted when I was 18. I dropped out of college. I continued working for Walmart, trying to live the A-OK life. What I didn't know is that really wasn't life. There was one day I was thinking about suicide, and God opened the doors, and I listened to a Justin Bieber song called Life's Worth Living. Well, that same day that I was thinking of suicidal thoughts, I heard that song and it opened my eyes to realize that there is so much more to life than what you and I see or hear. And so, sobbing on my eyes and realizing, God, you're there for me as I'm there for you. Please forgive me and truly come into my life and make me yours. and give me the directions of what I need to do. I had prayed that prayer, and I never ever felt so free than I ever have. I had prayed the prayer of salvation when I was younger, but to truly understand His love and His kindness is beyond words of comprehension. So I had prayed that prayer probably in my 28, 29. There was times where I played the guitar a little bit, I wrote a few songs here and there, but it wasn't really anything. And after I'd prayed that prayer, God told me, get back into songwriting and go find Justin Bieber. What are you talking about? I'm thinking to myself, God, really? Won't my husband think I'm crazy? I hesitated, but I truly heard His voice, and He said, go do these things. So the third day, I wrote a song, and I showed it, and I had promoted it all over. I only started with about 2 or 3 followers on Twitter, and over the course of time, I ran up to about 1,200 followers. And it's because of my impact for what I had done, meeting people, talking with people, knowing that people were going to be my fan base of some kind, some way. And I'm still in the middle of trying to find Justin Bieber in the needle of a haystack. And my husband did not like the fact that I was taking too much time away from him and trying to better myself. And of course, I was still working for Walmart a little bit at the time, but I realized how unfulfilled I still felt. And I was depressed one day. I got really sick, and I ended up having to quit Walmart. That was the most freest thing I ever felt, was quitting a job that I did not fulfill at. Now, granted, what I learned now is in songwriting is you can't just expect to become a sensational overnight. It doesn't work that way. It takes a lot of time, money, and investments. And had I known that then, when God first called me, I probably would have still been working more than what I am working now. Granted, I do DoorDash a lot of the hours because I really enjoy serving people, and it's my passion. So I ended up fast forwarding, working a dead-end job for over 10 years and not really getting anywhere in life. After talking with several different people, I found many different people besides Justin. Some people were just in the fan base hurting, and so I had counseled many of those people and got them to realize that, life is truly worth living, and to make them not think of suicide anymore. Along other many different areas, I had still found some celebs, believe it or not. Some are online. They're just very well hidden. And some of them aren't. There's a lot of fake profiles out there, and you just gotta believe with your heart and gut that you're talking to who you're talking to. And real people will show who they really are. And not that I've become some major songwriter by connecting to all these different people that I've obtained through many different avenues and investments of time and finding people and talking to people, just by being able to just be available and just showing people that you're real and that you are just as human as much as they are, and identifying with some of these people who that they're human too, that they're awesome. A lot of people are down to earth. Even in that weird entertainment industry, there's a lot of good people that are striving hard and working hard. It's not easy being a celebrity by any means. And a lot of people think, oh, look how fun it is. Look at all the glamour. It's really not all that glamorous. All the hours and time that they put in, some of the things they have to do that they don't really want to do, but they do anyway to entertain you guys. So, much respect to those that are in the industry. Now, I have not really gotten very far with my songwriting, to be honest. And a lot of that's going to take a little bit more time and money invested into it. But over the course of just meeting Faith, I realized that God was always there with me every step of the way, even in my times of being alone, even in my times of sorrow. He was always there, and he never left me. Even though I left him, he never left me. And in my tale of epic faith, I've met some awesome people. Some awesome people who I had even met online, became really good friends with. And they're not even really celebs, but they were people that were in the same fan bases as I was. One individual who I will let you share and hear her story. She was my friend 4 years online. And I just let her recently move out here after realizing how awesome she is. And there's a lot of good things I would love to let you listen in on. She means so much, and she's been there through a lot of times and trials that I was going through. And maybe you will also be encouraged by her. So don't ever let someone's view on you discourage you from ever trying and stepping out. Because let me tell you, I stepped out in my faith. And along the way, I became alone. My husband left me. He moved on to somebody else. But at the same time, I was still able to find joy in my salvation and in my choices. And even though it wasn't the easiest choice in the world, I still did it because God told me to. And he's blessed me with all kinds of new people in my life. He's blessed me with a new boyfriend in my life who I love so much for, whom also I will have him tell his story in this epic series, as well as we get to know each other's lives and styles. I mean, there were many sleepless nights I have had, many nights of crying, many tears of pain, but through it all, it was worth it, because I received the glory and the honor that I do not deserve, and God received the glory and the honor which he deserves, all because I followed him. There were people that I was able to talk to out of killing themselves. There were people that, even in my time of need, that still were there for me in all hours of the night. There are people that really do care, and you just got to reach out and show them, and they show you. You scratch their back, they scratch yours. And even in the celeb world, there's some awesome people out there. They're just people just like you and me that care. They just live a different life because they worked hard for that life. And there's a lot of more things I could talk about. Maybe in the next segment, you guys will understand a little more about me. And I wasn't trying to bore you with this long movie by any means or series, but through all the sorrow and through all the pain, I found myself. And myself is a songwriter and singer, video maker, designer. You put several different hats on my name that I can do, and it's not easy, and by any means I still have a lot of improvements to do, a lot of improvements, self-work I need to do even on me. But I guarantee you, take the time and listen to each of these stories and be inspired.